Hey guys, Sam here. You joined me in the Golf R for a bit of a video just on my kind of thoughts so far over the year really of having the Golf R. If you were kind of early subscribers of mine, you'd kind of noticed that I had a bit of a soft spot for Fiesta ST, and I absolutely love that car. And I did a video last year kind of saying, is there any regrets and all that kind of thing. And I'll be honest, when I first purchased this car last year, the first day or two, I was kind of like, I was kind of in two minds really if I'd made the right choice, and it was, it wasn't really the best time, to be honest. And I think that's probably because I just, enjoyed that Fiesta ST so much, and I couldn't recommend it enough. I've got playlists and all sorts on it. Still need to drive the Mark 8 as well to see what that's like. There's a nice Mark 8 there as well. And I think I kind of look back on it now, and I kind of think, well, it's probably because it was in such a good colour. I really like Spirit Blue. I was such a big fan of it, and I'll probably put a picture on screen. And I had 4 years of it, 40,000 miles, and it was just such a great car, such a fun car. And I kind of got in this, and I was like, oh crap. Obviously, I'd only had it a day, so I couldn't really say too much about it. And now that I've had it a year, and I actually think the more time I spend with it, the better it's been, which is fantastic. And I guess the big question now is like, do I still have any regrets? And I don't have any regrets in the decision. It's a fantastic car. It's a 5-star car kind of thing. It's 10 out of 10. It's fantastic. It really, really is. It really, really is. And I guess for it to, I've been thinking about this more and more really, to make it such a kind of perfect car for any kind of occasion and situation. I can drive this to work, I can drive this to client sites or whatever, and it doesn't look out of place. And yet you can drive it to Goodwood or Silverstone, and it still won't look out of place. You can drive it for a mill, it won't look out of place. It fits in everything. And in order for it to fit into everything, it may have to compromise on certain aspects where other cars potentially might not have to compromise. If I directly compare this to my Fiesta ST, that compromised on build quality, refinement, ride, and the fact that it was technically out of date really. But what it didn't compromise on was price, which is always a big factor, and fun factor. It was a ridiculously fun car because of how hard the ride was, because of the suspension, because of the weight of the car. I didn't weigh anything, so it sort of shot off. And those were all such huge plus points. And don't get me wrong, if I was in a situation where I had to part with the Golf R and I had to get essentially a downgrade to it back again, it probably wouldn't look too much further than a Fiesta ST again. Okay, I'd have to accept the fact that the ride quality wouldn't be as good, and it's not as the size of the car isn't the same, and all these kind of things. It does compromise in those areas. Particularly for my day-to-day kind of running, the Golf R is far better, and I really, I don't have any. I really, really don't have any regrets at all about owning this car, and certainly sharing it with you guys has been fantastic. And it really is a special car. If you're thinking of, if this car is on your mind and it's within your budget, it's such a capable car. It really, really is good for that whole daily kind of factor, and it can blow other cars out of the water as well. And I've got such a soft spot for a lot of hot hatches and hype hatches out there, and when I drove this and when I test drove this the first time, I nearly bought it and I didn't buy it, and then I went, this was about a year and a half ago actually, maybe even 2 years ago, and I test drove like a Focus RS and an A45, and I always said to myself, I was literally like, well, I won't be getting a Golf R, they're nowhere near as fun as these cars, they're not making the crackles or the pops, and wrong, if I'm sitting here talking to you in a Focus RS, you know, I'm going to be having a fun time, no doubt. But let's be honest, 95% of the time, you're sat in traffic and you're not necessarily doing the fun things. And this car makes life relaxing, to be honest. And you know, I don't think any of those cars make life relaxing. I do know the facelifted A45, that was something that I was very thinking about, albeit price, you know, it came down to price as well. You know, that was sort of a 30 grand plus car. And the facelifted one had a much better suspension than the pre-facelift A45. But at the same time, it was just an A-class. It was quite cramped inside as well, whereas this feels a bit more spacious and airy, which I really like. And I'm really hoping sort of like the videos I've sort of shown to you guys and kind of trying to build up the community as well, it's kind of reaffirming that, you know, if I didn't like this car, I would genuinely say it. You know, I put my money where my mouth is and purchased it. And it's awesome, you know, you can just, it really is something ridiculous. I mean, if I check my, you know, I've done 361 miles and I've got 55 miles to go, so since refueling it's got 35.4 and I've had stints of about 40, bear in mind 35.4 is average. That's not bad, you know, it's looking like 400 miles on the tank. That's really, really good. And that's including when I did that fun drive for you guys. You know, that was what, a 20-minute drive when you're basically leaving it in a high gear and you're having fun. Okay, other times you're kind of sitting on the motorway, but you're not sitting on the motorway slow, you're sitting on the motorway 70 miles an hour. And it really is that kind of all-round capable car. And I'm trying to big up the manual gearbox as well. If I was in a DSG car, I think it would be more relaxing. I actually, yeah, I think that would be the main thing. Okay, it's going to be stupidly fast, but for me, I think this car's relaxing enough personally, and to have the extra engagement is quite nice to have. It's a good gearbox. And also, today's market, I mean, I'm talking to you on the 6th of September. You look at the other cars that you can get, the other kind of hot hatches and all these kind of bits, and they're all pretty expensive. I mean, you look at like the new Polo GTI, you could, you know, they're not too dissimilar to a Golf GTI, and then you look like a Fiesta ST and it's pretty much more than a Focus ST. They're really hard to justify right now, and you know, one of the cars that I was looking at, and that's why I tried to do some videos on it, was the Mark 8 Fiesta ST potentially, but this is a lot better. This is just a much better car. It's in a different league to that kind of car. You know, I've been in it and sat in it and stuff like that, and the interior is more refined than the Mark 8, but it's nothing special. And it's already, it looks like it's lost some of its fun. That was such a big part of the other car, and it's more expensive, like for like, than the other car. So on today's market, I really can recommend people looking at sort of like a used Golf R as being sort of like every car you could ever want. And I know, particularly see it, the VW kind of Golf brand is trying to mix it in with like a 3 Series, BMW 3 Series, and that sort of saloon-y type car, in terms of just being that every car you could need. And again, I'm a big fan of the 3 Series, and you know, you can't put your finger on it, but it just does absolutely everything. Everything. I mean, it's so quiet. These roads are crap. I mean, as bumpy as anything. And I've got it in race mode as well. And it does handle its weight well. I mean, if there's any criticism, as I've said before, it's a heavier car, and that's just from me, from always having sort of smaller hatches. You know, it's a bit of a heavy car, but then, you know, four-wheel drive, it's going to weigh something. It's going to weigh a fair bit, and I can kind of understand, well, why this car can have a price tag of sort of £40,000 upwards, if not even, you can spec it into 50,000. Don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily understand why someone would spend £50,000 on a Golf, but you can, because you can put an Acropovic exhaust in it, you can fit it with DSG, you can fit it with a performance hope this video is not too much of a ramble, but I did kind of want to summarise some bits up because, you know, certainly for very early subscribers, I probably gave the impression of how I was feeling, and how I was feeling was kind of like, I might go back and get a Fiesta ST, you know, I'm just not enjoying this. I've spent, you know, double or 3 times the price of what my Fiesta ST was worth. But the more you have it, the more you spend time with it, the more experiences you have with it, and the more trips you go on and stuff like that away from work, it has what every car has, personally, I think, and this is why it's such a great thing. Whether or not you can afford a Golf R, you have an older Golf or a Polo or whatever, any car, so those experiences and memories kind of build up with them. And if you're always kind of chasing cars and you're kind of thinking in your head, oh, what could be my next car, what could I replace this with, what could I replace that with, oh, blah blah blah, there isn't really anything that can touch this car. I mean, there's another Golf R just over there, you probably can't see it in camera, 67 plate, 5-door, Lapidus Blue 7.5. Yeah, what can actually replace this? It's just, you know, if I wanted to get a Golf GTI, I'm probably going to be paying about exactly the same for the costs. Fuel wise, okay, it might be a little bit better, and in the long run it probably would save me some money, but it's not going to be like night and day. Is it going to be a bit more agile and funner to drive? Yeah, maybe. I just don't think there's much that can compete, really, because in terms of costs wise, the only cost that really, you know, it's good on fuel for all it is, but it drinks more than your normal car. You know, those costs add up, and that's probably the only real cost that I've noticed above and beyond my Fiesta, to be honest. You know, my Fiesta would get about similar miles, but it would have a smaller tank, so you know, it cost me an extra £10-15 per fill up, and as I've done videos before, that's really the only main problem. Obviously, outright cost of the car, it's obviously far more, but well, like for the next Fiesta ST based on this second-hand 17 plate Golf R, you know, you can spend more on a Mark 8 Fiesta ST. You can spend up to 25 grand quite easily, very easily actually, if you just get a 5-door SD3 with a pano roof. You're straight away kind of 25 grand. Price is a big factor. Nicer RS6 in front as well, pano roof, he's even got a roof rack. So yeah, that was it really. Just to kind of summarise it a little bit, certainly no regrets on having this car, and certainly sharing more content with you just inspires me more to keep it for longer and longer. You know, I'd love again to kind of sit here this time next year and still be telling you about the car, and that's the plan. You know, it's weird, I don't look at any other cars nowadays and think, oh, I wish I was in that, I wish I was in that, I wish I was in that, because it's just kind of like, I've hit the nail on the head really. This is the car you want. And it's just fantastic. And if you find one, they go quickly as well. You know, I checked out quite a few and they'd sell in seconds. You just have to be at the right place at the right time really, and you have to spend some time looking around, and you know, there are deals to be had. But yeah, that's it, no regrets. Sorry if this is a bit of a rambling kind of video, but just kind of my thoughts on, you know, where I'm kind of at in my head with the car, and you know, why early on I guess I wasn't gelling with the car as much. You know, for me, I'd never, well, other than having a few test drives, you know, I haven't lived with it and I hadn't built up any sort of experience or you know good times with the car really. And now that I kind of have, it's kind of coming into its own, and there'll be plenty more content to come on it really. But yeah, give us a like if you've enjoyed it, share it. Again, I've mentioned plenty of videos on my channel sort of around the Golf R, and yeah, please subscribe for future content to come. But you know, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you again next time. Cheers guys.